Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Moletrap here, coming at you with another StarCraft 2 commentary. And this is going to be a game between a couple high-level Masters players. Not quite pros today, but that's okay. Much like the game I did with Spanish Iwa from a week or two ago, BabyKnight actually is a fan of mine. He's messaged me several times. He's a very cool guy. And he said, hey, you want some replays? Some good replays, some good games? I'm like, sure. So got some replays from him. And he's going to be playing against a guy called BiGs. I do not know much about BiGs. I'm not sure. I haven't heard of him too much. But like I said, these are kind of like about 3,400 point Masters level players. So very, very high up there. I mean, you know, the top players in North America are up near 4,000 points right now. So 3,400 Masters is not very shabby at all. We got an Overlord coming in here. He's going to spot the Nexus, but the probe has already spotted the Overlord, so there's no point in just in going around. I'm not sure what these probes are doing. Did he have it? I think he might have had his Nexus rallied out there for a moment. Anyway, so yeah, BabyKnight is going to be the Protoss player here on the right side of the map, and BiGs is the Zerg player on the left side of the map, sort of top side of the map, I guess you might say. If anyone recognizes BabyKnight's name, yes, this is the same BabyKnight who was a pretty big deal in the Dota scene, actually. He was a pretty competitive Dota player, and he switched over to StarCraft 2 like a boss, and here he is playing Protoss in StarCraft 2. We've got early gas and pool coming down for BiGs. He's just droning up, that kind of thing. Sometimes it's very, very tempting to just go pool first if there's a probe in your base, because you know they're going to block your expansion. That's exactly what BabyKnight's trying to do over here with this probe right now. By the way, thanks very much to the person who was at the LAN. I was at the what's this probe doing? He's just kind of sneaking around. Not sure why he's checking around his base. Might be worried about drones or something like that. It's always handy to check for proxy anything. Usually not against Zerg, but you never know. In any case, yeah, at the LAN, whoa, a little bit of lag there, FPS lag, sorry about that. I am going to be trying to upgrade my computer here pretty soon. I've been having some issues with FPS, and I usually record at 15 FPS, and I asked my fans in the past if that was alright, if anyone cared one way or another. Ooh, that's interesting. He put down a pylon back here, and he actually put a forge, and then once the Overlord scouted it, he canceled. But he's going to let the pylon finish for some reason. That's kind of interesting. Maybe he's faking like he has a forge somewhere. So a little bit of sort of cheesy harassment here going on. I'm not sure, again, what that pylon is for exactly. He's got a probe back over here, but he doesn't have a forge anymore. Maybe, like I said, maybe he's just faking. Oh, never mind. He's got a forge over here, so he does have the forge down. He was going to try and put down some cannons. Oh, cannon, pylon, pylon. Oh, no, the Zerglings get in there. It looks like there's a little gap there. He has to cancel everything. Oh, that's too bad. Doesn't get a free win on the hatchery, but a little bit of harassment going on there at least. Made him build some Zerglings early on. In any case, oh, yes, so I'm going to try and get some new computer equipment at some point to try and boost my FPS. Diggity was telling me that he has a solid state hard drive, and that's helped him get a little bit better recording on his computer. I also, I'm not sure, I might try and, well, I might try and upgrade my video card, I guess, but that's kind of an expensive way to go, so I might not be able to do that. In any case, I'm going to be trying to sort of upgrade the quality of my videos here pretty soon. Anyway, BabyKnight getting a little bit harassed here by some Zerglings. They're going to be able to take the shields off this gateway. They might even get some hit points, actually, before this sentry gets out there. He's chrono boosting it out so he can start to, ooh, running in, taking a shot, running in, taking a shot. One more, boom, kills one Zergling. And those Zerglings are just not even paying attention. And, oh, it's very risky to bring your, oh, he does manage to stop everything from going on there. It's a little bit risky to take your Zealot out of that gap there. I don't know why my computer is lagging a little bit here on this. I might have to pause and resume at some point here. In any case, yeah, it's a little bit risky to bring your Zealot out of that gap because then the Zerglings can run by, and that is obviously not a good thing to have happen. But BabyKnight's pretty secure here. He's being very conscientious about moving that Zealot and put it back into the right location. He's going to actually expand off that. Very interesting. And whoa, pretty early expansion. He's only got the one sentry when he puts down the expansion, and he had been scouting around before. His scout's long been gone. But he had been scouting over here and saw that BiGs was pretty much going econ base, so it makes a little bit of sense to expand there, but that's a little bit risky, expanding off just the one just the 1 sentry. He does have 3 warp gates though, so he's going to be able to warp in a few more sentries here pretty quickly in order to defend. So that makes a lot of sense. And we did see that Roach Warren down and an Evo Chamber researching attack for the ranged ranged unit weapons, and a lot of Zerglings coming in as well. It looks like he might try and force a cancel on this hatchery. Actually, lots and lots of Zerglings coming in here. That Zealot is totally screwed. It gets completely surrounded and owned, and now he's got nothing but sentries. It looks like he's going to try and force a cancel on that Nexus. Sentries just can't quite kill Zerglings quick enough to deal with this. Nexus down almost near 500 hit points at this point. And, oh, is he going to get into the main? Oh, force fields going down everywhere. Just barely just trying to defend, trying to guard his sentries, basically. A couple Zealots are out, and the Nexus is going to finish either way. So now he cannot cancel it, but he just used like 6 force fields. And that really hurts. He just used basically all of his force field energy on all these sentries to try and just keep the sentries alive. So BabyKnight playing a little bit risky, and you know, taking a little bit of a gamble, playing a little bit risky, trying to just balance his defense on the edge of a knife. And unfortunately, he fell off and cut himself a little bit there, losing most of his energy on these sentries. Now they will obviously be able to charge up over time. He's still got them. So at least he didn't lose any sentries, and that was the important part. If he lost those sentries, then he would be in pretty bad shape. Anyway, I'm surprised that we saw that Roach Warren early, and the attack upgrade for the Roaches without really seeing anything. I'm sorry I haven't had the production tab up there. Ooh, lots of drones being made right now to fill up this 3rd base that BiGs had just made. And if wow, actually, if BabyKnight doesn't start making some more attack units and putting some pressure on, he's going to get completely out-econned. A little bit of a counterattack here by some Zerglings coming in from the side as BabyKnight is out of position. They're going to come in here and try and harass some of these probes. Getting a couple probes. Oh, Zealot's warping. Oh, he needs to get a Zealot in the gap. No, the gap is completely open. The Zerglings run right in, and at the very least, he's going to be able to scout in here and might even get a couple probe kills. Looks like he is going to probably get a couple probe kills. Yeah, not very good at all. Finally, the Zealots and sentries are going to come back and clean that up. Oh, tries to force field to block those Zerglings in so he could kill them. Barely misses those last few Zerglings and is going to have to chase them around for a little bit. But he does have a robotics facility out now. Pretty smart to have a robo around just in case. I mean, you always need observers at the very least. You know, it's handy to have robotics so that you can get out Immortals if they go for Roaches, and if they're going for Hydras or something like that, you can switch up into Colossi. In any case, he is just pretty much sticking with sentries and Zealots, mass sentries and Zealots. He's got some money in the bank right now. Could probably stand to put down a little, maybe another gateway or something like that. He might be saving up for, depending on what he sees with his observer, he might be trying to save up to build some tech structures, that kind of thing. In the meantime, let's actually check out the income tab. Yeah, 53 harvesters now for BiGs. He's getting very, very close to getting full saturation on all 3 of his bases. This is the only base that's not really saturated right now. So that's kind of interesting. So this is the point where BabyKnight has plenty of sentries. He could actually probably use more. I've seen players use a lot more. But at this point, he'd be a little bit behind if he kept trying to be defensive for too much longer. And whoa, okay, that's interesting. He's researching observer speed first. That's kind of cool. Might as well, especially since the Zerg does have lair tech by now, so he's going to be able to possibly chase down observers with his overseers. He's got a single spore colony here, spore crawler rather, but no overseers actually at this point. Getting a Hydros Den up, very good move. Now once he sees that Hydros Den, we're probably going to see him change up and start building. There's a Colossus he was already building actually, so he's probably going to switch up and upgrade that Thermal Lance upgrade afterwards, so he can start getting out some very, very high quality Colossi in order to deal with the ground army. And the Colossi are pretty good against Roaches too. Now actually I was just watching a GSL game the other day though, where they had force fields and they had like 4 Immortals, and if you have 4 Immortals, that is just able to do sick amounts of damage. They can just, especially with the force fields to hold things off. Look at how fast that guy is. Those are really fast with the speed upgrade. Anyway, so he might want to think about getting Immortals if he sees that he's sticking with the, if he's sticking with the Roach tech. But of course he does have the Hydros Den. He could do something else. Spire is about half completed as well, so he hasn't actually built any of those tech units. Yeah, he doesn't have any of those actual tech units on the map right now. Only 37 roaches. They are pretty well upgraded, though. They have the speed upgrade. They have the tunneling claws upgrade as well. So he's going to be in good shape with those roaches, actually. He's got a really good fighting force with the roaches. And so if he tries to force field them in, they should be able to get away. Couple of force fields going down just to trap those couple roaches. Nice little move there. He doesn't commit to a ton of force fields at this point. It's a pretty good move. I like this observer is chasing those roaches just to make sure he knows exactly where they are. And BabyKnight expanding to the bottom right as well. A very, very good move. He kind of needs to do that, especially with the Zerg player taking this fourth base over here. Zerg player is now at 76 drones. 76 drones and making a dozen more right now. He is going to have a ridiculous economy, an absolutely insane economy very soon. Look at that. He's almost at 2,000 minerals per minute coming in. He's almost at 90 harvesters. That is ridiculous. That is almost as many, pretty much almost as many drones as I've ever seen a Zerg player have. And BabyKnight almost up to 70 harvesters himself, actually, pumping out of 3 Nexuses very, very consistently. So he's going to have a pretty good economy too, but the Zerg is just going to be ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Both players getting lots of upgrades, +2 weapons for the Zerg units, only +1 weapons for the Protoss units. No actually additional upgrades on the way for the Protoss. So he's going to get out-upgraded in that sense. Those Zealots are pretty much going to do absolutely nothing against these roaches, these upgraded roaches. They now have a +1 Carapace as well. Corruptors are in play. Very cool to see those Corruptors. They're going to be able to stomp down on these Colossi pretty quick. Now, he doesn't actually have a ton of Corruptors. Let's see. He's got, well, he's got 10. He's got a couple more incoming. So that is actually pretty good. A dozen Corruptors is a nice, good number where you can start taking out Colossi very quickly. And that's the thing is, if you have, 6 Corruptors, obviously the Colossi can't do anything to them. But even if the Starkers aren't target firing the Corruptors, it takes them so long to kill off Colossi that they are almost, not even worth having at a certain point if you don't have enough of them to kill them off quickly. You need to kill them off before the Colossi can do too much damage to your army. Here he comes in with a lot of roaches. Corruptors coming in from the side are going to directly target, picking off one of the Colossi, going straight for the Colossi. The ground army going up here to challenge this roach army as well. Not very good force fields. There we go. Some beautiful force fields on the follow-up there. Able to hold that attack off, funnel those roaches in a little bit, allow his stalkers to pick off a few Colossi, warping in some more stalkers as well, to really just have a nice bulky army here. There we go, more force fields going down. He might want to consider trying to trap some of those roaches in a little bit better, but he might be a little bit worried as well about letting those roaches in. At this point, he's playing pretty defensively, trying to get another base up, but that is not going to happen. Oh no, Corruptors flying in are actually going to take some major hits by those cannons. Colossi were all taken out in that battle, so he doesn't have those Colossi anymore. Corruptors aren't really worth very much at this point, and he's actually going to move in and just absolutely own these roaches on the ground. Just way too many Stalkers. He'd warped in another round of Stalkers, and with the Zealots able to get in close as well. I like that. He warps in, blinks in to the roaches to block them in, so he didn't actually have to use any force fields on that. So that was really, really nice move by BabyKnight. Anyway, Corruptors still just running around. Is he actually producing more Colossi, though? Yes, he is producing another Colossus. He's got 1 on the ground as well, so he's going to have 2 for the next engagement. But we are seeing Infestors coming out, and I think really the tale of this, though, is this 5th base over here. 5th base going down. Only a 4th base for BabyKnight, not quite up yet, although actually he has lost some drones. It looks like he didn't build additional drones as he built his tech building. So the Zerg player is actually down to about 80 drones at this point, and maybe he built some defensive structures. Switching up into Hydras. Whoa! Switching up into Hydras, and that is, that could be really big. Hydras and Infestors. Wow. I mean, there's a couple Colossus in the mix. And if he can't pick those off quickly, then those Hydras are just going to melt. He does have 8 Corruptors, and there's only 2 Colossi, so it could work out. But if the Blink Stalkers move in and take out those Corruptors quickly, or get in the way, if he tries to fly them in from the wrong angle, then it could spell disaster. So it could go either way. It depends on the micro. The Zerg army is slowly catching up, approaching off the creep. Fungal growth going down on a lot of those units. Corruptors going in, corrupting both the Colossi. Colossi taken out extremely quickly, so the Hydras can actually do their full damage. And BabyKnight using some good force fields to keep that army back, but is forced to blink back and fall back. A lot of his army is getting corrupted, and yeah, that Colossus basically getting nullified. The Stalker's concentrating on the ground army, so the Corruptors can just come in and polish them off very quickly. He does have +1 weapons on those Corruptors, which is helping out a lot. Stalker's coming in here, taking a few extra hits, and then blinking back out of the way. Playing very cautiously. I wouldn't be surprised if he actually switched up and maybe started getting some Immortals at this point, because there have been a lot of Corruptors. Those Corruptors are owning his Colossi pretty badly at this point. It might be better to switch up and get another kind of unit to help out. Maybe switch into Templar Tech at this point. He actually is getting a High Templar Archives, but biGs is not done yet, though. He's moving in with lots of Roaches and Hydras. That Colossus pops out at the perfect moment, gets a few solid hits in, and those few hits may be the turning point here. They may decide this battle. There's a lot of Stalkers, though. Stalkers blinking in so that all of them can get their shots off. He had a lot of Stalkers dancing around in the back. They move up to the front so they can get more hits in, and that is actually the deciding factor in being able to polish off those Roaches. He had a good concave, but a lot of his Stalkers weren't doing enough damage, and the Zerg player was picking them off slowly and steadily. So actually blinking them forward so that all of his Stalkers were able to get hits in was really important. Lots of Corruptors in the air now, and I really, really hope that he decides to go ahead and switch up into High Templar Tech. His robotics facility died during that battle. He may get a little bit of everything, though, at this point. If he's got the thermal lance upgrade already. 26 Zerglings in an Ultra being produced by the Zerg right now. He is really, really starting to get a lot of Zerglings, and they can actually be pretty good against Blink Stalkers. And, you know, normally you don't want to get the Zerglings because the force fields and that kind of thing. Zealots in the mix are really strong against them, but without any sentries and without any Zealots, the Zerglings are going to be able to do very, very well, especially if you can get a good surround or something like that. The Blink Stalkers, of course, can get out of the way, but they're still going to be handy to have. Another Observer getting pushed out here from this robotics facility. 6 base going up for biGs in here. It looks like it's going to get actually, I think he killed that base. Nice, but the Zerg is actually going to go for a counterattack, try and catch this army before it can retreat to its home base. He's going to poke in here to the natural expansion and force BabyKnight to engage on his terms. Corruptors are coming in, but there's no Colossi for them to do anything with. The Blink Stalkers are coming in from the back. He could probably blink in and take out those Infestors very quickly if he wanted to. Fungal Growth going down. Oh, nice feedback going down on the Infestor, stopping him from casting any more spells. Beautiful move by this single Templar coming in. There may have been another one as well. And the Blink Stalkers again blinking forward and taking out massive amounts of Zerg units. So the Zerg, and 54 Zerglings and 8 Ultralisks are in production right now. Jesus. And he's already got some couple forces on the ground here. BabyKnight playing defensively. It looks like maybe he warped in more Templar that I didn't actually see, because now he's got some Archons. Wow, 10 Stalkers being warped in at once as well. And he's got like 5 Archons now. Single High Templar in the mix as well. And High Templar, a single High Templar, if he's got a single Storm, which he does, can just kill tons and tons and tons of Zerglings. The Zerglings attack, and they basically form a little wall against your units. You storm around the units, and it just polishes off tons of Zerglings in a matter of moments. They're so weak that they die in the first second of the Psystorm, basically. BabyKnight decides it's his turn to be a little bit aggressive here. I think he could probably use with another couple Templar in this army, but he's going to go in. He's got a lot of Blink Stalkers, 5 Archons, which are also major damage dealers. Looks like he might not want to engage at that point. Here he goes in. I like that he actually blinked his Stalkers out of the way. What is he doing? Oh no, some of these units actually getting caught and completely obliterated. Storm going off on a lot of Zerglings, but there's tons of Ultras there, which are really good against those Stalkers. I like that, again, blinking back the Stalkers to let the Archons take the front, and that is exactly what he needs to do. And he's actually chasing those Ultras down without any Zergling support. They're not quite as good, although they are still pretty good. Ultralisks are basically what you want to get to counter Stalkers. With the Archons in front, they're going to be able to take a lot more hits. They don't do as much damage against the Archons. So it's a good move to have those Archons in the front. But still, anyway, there we go. Some more Templar coming in. So I think this might be the killing blow very soon. Oh my goodness, I didn't even see the Greater Spire going up. Broodlords are in play now as well. This is all of the endgame tech for the Zerg player. Ultralisks, Infestors, Broodlords, everything that the Zerg army can throw at, and this is exactly what's good against Stalkers. All of these things are good against Stalkers. He's got Roaches in the mix as well. This is actually the perfect army for killing what BabyKnight has in his army. We may see him try and come back, and here he goes blinking in. He's going to try and take out those Broodlords before they can do too much damage, storming the rest of the Zerg units. The Ultras don't even care. Broodlords raining lots of damage down on top of these guys. But, and there he goes, kills off the Broodlords and now falls back to let the Immortal and the Archons take the hits. It's so close, the Ultralists are about half dead. Half of them are dead, the rest of them are low on hit points. He's blinking the Stalkers back. The last Archon goes down. It's just Stalkers versus Ultras, and I'm not exactly sure who's going to win. He's falling back to those Stalkers. It looks like BabyKnight is barely going to hold on. And the Roaches are actually going to burrow and try and get away. In the meantime, BabyKnight getting his high yield up. Wow, and this is absolutely insane. Let's check out the income tab right now. Both players have huge incomes right now, but because BabyKnight actually has more workers right now, and some of his bases are not mined out. This base is not mined out yet. He's got actually a higher income, and once this high yield gets some workers on it, is going to be huge as well. And the key basically is BiGs has tried to get this high yield up like 3 or 4 times, and BabyKnight keeps knocking it down over and over again. He switched his tech back up into something. Actually, it's kind of interesting. He switched his tech back to some things that are going to do better against Ultralisks, these Zealots, and getting some Immortals. But in the meantime, he's gotten more Roaches. BiGs has gotten more Roaches, which are going to do better against the Zealots at the very least, not against the Immortals. Ultralisks and Roaches and Zerglings coming down here. He's got a couple Infestors. He's got a couple Fungal Growths in the mix here. If he can fungal those Zealots, that would be huge. Fungals about half of them, not exactly where he wanted to be. He fungals all the Stalkers, though, so they can't blink well. Nice move. The Immortals are doing major damage. The Immortals completely owning those Ultralisks. It looks like he actually had them rallied, right-click rallied on the Ultralists to take them out. He's able to fall back. Finally, the fungal wears off. He can fall back to these cannons, and those cannons, actually, he's not even fighting within range of the cannons. He probably blink up to the high ground there, get a little bit more defense. Cannons finally coming to play a little bit more. Another Immortal comes in just at the nick of time to try and deal more damage to these Roaches. Stalkers coming from the back are going to try and stand behind that Immortal, and some more Zealots popping in. Infestors joined the battle a little bit late to turn the tide into his favor. He's going to be forced to fall back. Wow, and BabyKnight actually holds his high yield barely, and looks like he's going to try and give chase as well to those units. Wow, this is absolutely insane. Tons of Zerglings have been spawned out as well in the meantime. Just making lots of Hydralisks, actually. Very good move with the Hydralisks. Here come the Zerglings coming in. He's going to need to get back, but he can't get away because he's been fungled. Storms going down on tons of the Zerglings, though. All the Zerglings absolutely melt to the massive Psystorm. Zealots getting in close to those Roaches, and there might just be way too many units. Just barely too many units, I should say, for BabyKnight coming in here. Hydralisk coming in just a moment too late. If BiGs had fallen back a little bit farther and engaged with those Hydralisks in his army, BiGs would have won that battle pretty easily. Wow, this is absolutely insane. Back and forth matchup, just going back and forth, back and forth. BabyKnight seems to be winning every battle just by a little bit, but BiGs has gotten his high yield up. He's got some workers there now. Both players a little bit light on their workers on those high yields, which is something they could get a little bit more income. They may be worried about mining it out too fast and trying to keep that in reserve, but at this point it's their last bases. They should probably, there we go, get more workers. And it looks like this base mined out, so BabyKnight's going to really oversaturate the high yield, but it doesn't matter. He's moving in. If he can take out this high yield of BiGs, he's going to have such an econ advantage. It's going to be huge. 7 Broodlords are warping in at this moment. And they're not going to be there anywhere near in time to deal with this army. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That is a ton of Templar. That is 13 high Templar. My favorite number. And they are just going to obliterate any amount of Zerglings and Hydralisks. And they're going to be able to feed back these Infestors pretty well also. But Broodlords are in play. It takes a lot of Psystorms to kill Broodlords. So they're not really effective for that. Looks like a little bit of a drop happened here. Sorry, I missed that. It's going to get cleaned up pretty easily. These Blink Stalkers able to get in there very quickly and deal with that. Uh-oh. Oh, man. Whoa, what are these Templar doing? BabyKnight, your Templar, defenseless. Oh, he's going to bring him back. Okay. Actually, all of his tech units are just running out here defenseless. He may have had him rallied here in preparation for this battle that was going on up here, but in the meantime, his army was kind of split apart there. A very, very tentative moment there for BabyKnight. He rejoins everything with his main army, though, so he is in good shape. And look at this, mass stalkers. He's got a Colossus in there. He's got a couple Immortals. He's got a ton, an absolute ridiculous ton of High Templar. Here come the High Templar from the back. He puts down one Storm on those Zerglings. Uh-oh, he needs to be careful he doesn't lose those Templar to the Queen running in there to try and pick some stuff off. The Fungal Stalker's not able to get away for a moment, taking some hits from the Broodlords. Here come the Broodlords moving in. That is a ton of Broodlords. Oh my goodness, a dozen Broodlords coming in. They're stacked up, so they're taking major damage from those Storms, though. Blinking in to try and kill those Broodlords off, but they're doing insane amounts of damage. Fungal Growth stopping some of those Stalkers from getting in close. He's moving and falling back, but there's just not enough support units. The Broodlords need those support units. Zerglings need to run in there right now. Barely able to run into the Zerglings at the right moment. Fungal's going off on those Stalkers, but they were already too close to the Broodlords. The Broodlords all go down, and that may be the end of this game. A very, very long, epic game between BabyKnight and biGs. But biGs is not giving up yet. He's still trying to get some forces down. Storm being cast, missing that Broodlord a little bit, but it doesn't matter. He's got too many Archons. All those Templars fire their Storms off. There's GG coming from biGs. Nicely played, and very, very, very well done by BabyKnight. And that was a really, really cool game, actually. A lot of tech switching back and forth for both players. That is just, you know, that was a good a clinic on how to tech switch in Protoss versus Zerg. I mean, that's exactly what you want to do. Both players trying to switch back and forth to the right units to counter the other player's units, and just beautifully played all around. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that game. That was awesome. Thanks very much to BabyKnight for getting me the replays, and thank you all very much for watching.